Hello, 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 guys. We are in store for a great project today. Every year I make at least one of these, sometimes two, it just depends. But have you heard of booing your neighbor, where you give them a little package on their porch and then they put a sign in their door so that people know they've been booed, so that they don't get booed again? Anyway, I have for years been doing a variation on it. Instead of booing somebody, I booze them, which means that they get alcohol. And I've made every year You've Been Boozed little treat holder, because I just think it's so fun for your girlfriends, for the guys, for everybody, right? It's just a good project. So today's is using the Spooky Sweet DSP. I used the elixir bottle. I thought that was really fun with the poison. I added my little crow that's dressed up like a toucan. Or my bat that's dressed as I think it's a crow that's dressed up as a toucan. And I went to my local store and I found the minis. And this year I found these two that work really well. There's this killer sour apple tart vodka, which I thought was cool because it has that cool Halloween color, and then Jack Daniel's Tennessee Blackberry for my other one. So obviously you don't have to give two bottles. You can give one bottle and then some candy in there, but I put two bottles in here just so that I could show you the two different ones that I had found. But yeah, so we're gonna make that today. So I'm using the Boo from the Fright Night, and I'm using these Stylish Shapes dies. I'm actually going to be needing, I used for this handle the largest Stylish Shapes die, and I'm going to need the third largest to do the inside, and we'll be doing that together. So I'm going to pull that one out for right now, put it to the side. The first thing that we're going to be doing is making our box though. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to start with a piece of 4x8. I used Berry Burst, but you could easily use Blackberry Bliss if you're giving the Jack Daniel's Blackberry. You could use Green Apple Green or Lemon Lime Twist if you're doing the Sour Apple Tart Killer vodka. But you go find your little mini bottles and see what you can figure out. But we're gonna start scoring on the long side. We're gonna score it 1/2 inch, at 3 inches, at 4 1/4, and at 6 3/4. And then we're gonna rotate to the short side, which is the 4-inch side, and we're gonna score it 1. So you want to burnish on all the score lines, and you always bend it towards the raised score line. We're gonna go ahead and trim this out, and then I will show you how the whole handle section happens. Okay, so this is where we're gonna attach our bag together. So I'm going to angle cut here and here, and we're gonna get rid of this little tab at the bottom. We don't need that, okay? So just this one, and I'll make sure that that's snipped nice. Okay, so that's our first piece. We're gonna trim down the bottoms, and I like to angle cut the ends, so straight on the large rectangles and then angled on the tabs. All right. All right. So that's basically it in a nutshell. So you're going to attach this together like so, okay? So this is how your box is going to come together. But we're going to go ahead and add all of the designer series paper first. So you're going to need 2 pieces of DSP. These are 2 3/8 by 2 7/8, and they're going to go in these large sections. And then you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper that are 1 1/8 by 2 7/8. So we're gonna glue all of those down first, and I use the candy print, but you could use any print that you chose, depending on what color you decided to make your box and all that good stuff, okay? So I'm just gonna work my way down here and attach my sides or my DSP on all the sides of the box. It's easier to attach when it's flat, plus you're gonna need it in place before we do the handles. So it's a good choice to go ahead and attach it now. All right. Just like that. And then the last one. Whenever I get glue on my mat, I always wipe it onto the piece that's getting the little piece of DSP or cardstock or whatever attached to it, because that way we get it off our mat. Okay, so now we have this cute little piece and we can put our box together, no problem, just like that, right? It's gonna be fun. But first, we're going to attach our handles onto our bag. So remember I told you I use the largest stylish shaped circles. So we're gonna go ahead and attach these onto these sections right here. So I'm gonna put a little less than an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of adhesive. And then I'm gonna lay this straight edge right here, and it's going to attach onto that large section. Have to hold that in place. We're gonna do the same thing on this side, about 3/4 of an inch of glue. And then we're gonna attach this circle, just making sure that I did it correctly. Here we go. And we're gonna add this one on this side. And what I like to do is I like to use a line and just make sure that I'm straight. Use your grid paper to line up and make sure that if you have to lift your little circle slightly up or whatever, that you have a straight edge or a line that you're pushing against, okay? So now these are attached, and now we're gonna cut the ring in our piece. So this is the third largest stylish shapes. So this largest outside is the one I used here, and then the third one down we're gonna use, and I'm gonna grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and we are going to die cut that ring. Okay, so I'm going to put those pieces in, just so I have enough room on here. And I'm gonna add a piece of Post-it tape or flag, just to hold my piece. I just kind of eyeball it, and we're gonna run that one through and back, and then we're gonna do the other side. So I'm gonna run that one through. When I hear that little snap, I know it's done. I'll bring it back. And then let's add it to the other side. It does take a minute, especially because this is so thick right here. So you may have to use your scissor to finish cutting that piece out. And it is gonna have some piece on there. So let's go ahead and do this side now. I'm gonna get this one lined up so that it's even-ish, best you can. Life ain't perfect, so don't sweat the small stuff. We're gonna do this one next. I like to slide in so that it's a little quicker, but I am going to go back and forth just because it's thick and I want to make sure it cuts well. Okay, so there's our last one. And I use these over and over and over again until it has no more sticky. So let me go ahead and put that back. All right. And let's move our plates out here and our machine. All right. Like I said, you may have to help ease it out. And if you need to, just take your scissor and you want to just make sure it's nice and smooth. I'm going to do this one as well. And just kind of angle your scissor, like not straight, like tilt it like this on an angle. And you can easily cut away. And then I'm going to save these because no one's going to see the back when you attach it onto a project. So I don't mind having the little pink back there. So I'm going to use these for something else down the road, I'm sure. All right. So now we have our box ready to assemble. Once we've done our handles, I want to make sure that if there's any gluey pieces, I get those off now before I put my box together. I think we're good. All right. So we're going to put glue on this tab here, and then this is going to be the back of our box. So this one's going to be the front. So let's go ahead, add our adhesive onto this flap right here. I'm actually going to lay it over so that it is not right on that very edge. Okay. And when you push this into place, you have to lift your little handle up. That's okay. And press that into place. So there's your box back. That's the back of your box, okay? And just make sure that it's nice and adjusted in both directions, that you're happy with how it is placed, okay? So this is gonna be the front of my box. It's the last one I'm gonna put in. I'm gonna put these in first. And then I'm going to put adhesive on these tabs. You can see they don't go all the way across, so I don't want adhesive in my box. So I'm just going to put adhesive on the tabs on the spots that's going to be covered by my tab. So that's good right there. And then on this one, I don't want any glue here because you can see it's not going to be covered. So I'm just going to put glue on these parts right here and then this section. Just a portion. It doesn't go all the way across, okay? Let me make sure that's good. All right, so about half of that, and then see how it all gets held together. We're going to put it down and make sure it stays square. And then I'm just going to put my bone folder in here and push all of that stuff down. And then once I have it down, I'm going to actually put some power in there and get my base nice and good. Okay, so this is the front of my box. Isn't it cute? With those big circle handles. I think it is precious. I have to grab this ooey gooey glue right here. There we go. That take your pick tool sure comes in handy, I'll tell you that. All right, so we're gonna decorate our box now that we have our front. So like I said, I have used the toucan. These are the cutouts from Sweet, Spooky Sweet. So we're gonna grab some dimensionals. I don't know why that keeps sticking like that, but I'm gonna have to do something about that. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna use the minis. I like using the different sizes. All right, so there's the label. We're gonna add that onto our bottle, our little poison bottle, right? Or our elixir bottle, or whatever you wanna call it. I don't like where it was. I'm gonna move it over. Let's see, right I didn't center that very good. Now it's much better. All right, so we're gonna add this onto our piece. So we're gonna put more dimensionals on the back. One there, one there, one there, one here, and here, here, and here. All right. So we're gonna pull these off and we're gonna add that to the center of our box. Then we're gonna work on our label. So by now you guys probably heard that Stampin' Up is discontinuing our Stampin' Right markers, which makes me quite sad because I actually use my markers for a lot of different things. I like having the same color as we have of our inks in the markers. I use them for a lot of different techniques. I also use them to just write with inks that match. So we're gonna use our black here for our label. So this is the largest bannered label from Stylish Shapes. So it's this big one over here, okay? The biggest one. And we're gonna add the word Boo, which is actually from Fright Night here, and there is the die. We're gonna glue that on to our label. So we're just going to add a little glue. Onto our piece, and then we're going to attach that kind of in the center. I'm going to grab my tweezers. So we're going to add that right in the middle there, okay? And I'm going to angle it just a hair, not straight, okay? Just a little angled. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' Right marker. You can still buy these, they're still available. And you want the end, the nib end, the thinner one, not the brush. And I'm gonna make like a little hyphen, okay? And then I'm gonna put a Z, an E, and a D for Boo-zed, okay? And then I need a thinner one because this is going to be too thick for this side. So I'm going to use the journaling pens. They come in a 3-pack. They're really nice. And I'm going to put You've Been, and then there's Boo-zed. Okay? Pretty cute, I'd say. And in this corner here, we're going to use the 1/8 inch hole punch from this pack. And we're gonna punch a hole in the corner right there, this top corner. All right, so now we have a little spot to put our ribbon. So now you know you need to get those journaling markers and get that basic black marker before they're gone, because I think these are gonna be really missed. All right. So we're gonna add the ribbon to our project. So I think, let me get you a measurement. I think it's 10 inches, yes, 10 inches of ribbon. So we're just gonna put it through that hole there. So I just have to fold it in half and then put it through that hole. Okay. And we're gonna lay this down. I'm actually going to put the Boo-zed inside of it because it does help to have something hard there to push against when you're doing your bow. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get these even, make sure they're not uneven like mine are. Okay, and you're going to lay it so that this lays forward, and you're going to take this strap and bring it to this side, and then this strap, I mean not strap, ribbon end, and bring it to this side. So basically what you're doing is wrapping it around that handle, okay? And I'm actually going to give it a knot. So once I have it wrapped around, I'm just going to close that like that, okay? Once that's done, I'm just gonna slide it down and make sure it's all together. Then I'm gonna tie my bow. So I'm gonna add my loop and then bring it through. This is always the challenging part, especially on camera. Hey, it worked out really well today. And then I always like to hold the knot when I am pulling my ends so that I could get a nice tight bow. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm just going to trim the ends so that they're angled and cute. There we go. Get rid of those. And there is our You've Been Boozed. And now we're going to add our little crow dressed up like a toucan in the corner. So I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals underneath him on the handle, one there and one there. And then attach him so it looks like he's, you know, taking flight with his little basket. There we go. So cute. The final step is to add some shimmer foam star stickers, or shimmer star foam stickers, I think is how it is. Shimmer star foam stickers. Yeah, it's a mouthful. You can see I have made 2 of every project and I still have quite a few left. So you get quite a bunch of these in your package. All right, so we are going to grab just a few of them. I'm going to put the little black one right here, maybe. Or maybe I don't use the black. Oh, I think I'm going to use white. Well, if I can get them up. I usually use my take your pick tool. Let me grab that. It's just easier. Let's use white this time. The white is cute. And it ties in to the back of all of the little elements that we added on here. I'm going to put one right here. All right. So there is my little, and you can, like I said, you could put a candy in here right next to it, like a Snicker or 2 Twix, or I don't know if I have any Twix. Let me see what I got. I do have Twix, and they do come in Halloween packaging. But you just have to wait for the stores to have them. So see, you can put 2 Twix and a little booze bottle in there, and it would be really cute. Or you can put a Snickers that's a little thicker, or a Milky Way or something. And then there is your piece. But how cute is this box? I just think it turned out really good. I'm quite happy with it. It's not hard to put together, as you could see. Having those fun handles just make it even more, you know, adorable. And I hope that you will booze someone this Halloween. All right, so again, we used Fright Night and Stylish Shapes. If you don't have this hole punch set, I've used it quite a bit in the series. It is called Hole Punch Assortment. Grab you it because it's amazing. And thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't come back tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, where you can watch me live, and I will be making some really fun cards for my card class of the month called Game Night. I always include a cute little goodie as well as your class kit. And I think you'll have fun. You have a chance to win some fantastic Stampin' Up! Products. So join us. I would love to have you try it out for this month. And I'll see you next time. This is Kelly with Inky Hands From Hearts. Happy stamping!